Okay,
Next we get authorized execution.
an execution?
Execution.
Cool. Oh, wait a minute, we didn't talk about politics, we're just supposed to read them in here, right?
Right, he said the policies look okay on the surface, and they are with the attorney for further review, and if they have any updates to policies, staff. Next time. All right, so next item on the agenda, resolution 2014-201, authorizing execution of 2014 to 2019 King County City of Pacific Special Property Tax Levy Agreement.
Council members, okay, this is a fairly simple item to go through. For those back in 2008, there was a property tax levy that for parks, levy for parks for open space, for parks and trails of regional significance, and that was a 6-year contract. And in 2013, there was a property tax levy for parks that was passed by a majority of the King County residents, and this is a resolution to continue that particular park levy for another 6 years, and specific for open space parks and trails of regional significance, and it's anticipated it'll bring in approximately $11,000 for those purposes.
Council discussion. Just out of curiosity, what happens if we say no?
You don't get any,
Just don't get the money?
you don't get any money.
Council pleasure?
It's great.
Move forward. All righty, next ordinance 2014-1873, transferring existing rates.
Nice, welcome.
Well, thank you. And charges for sewer service, connection fees, and inspection fees from resolution to an ordinance.
Hold on.
So then you go to, right here.
This is housekeeping. Remember earlier this year in April, actually we passed it in February, the resolutions increasing or changing rates for sewer rates. And speaking with our attorney, Carol Morris, she notified us that all rates need to be changed by ordinance to be codified properly. And so we're just bringing this forward, the same rates that have already been in effect since April 1st, and no changes will be in effect with it, just making it an ordinance. Okay? Any questions?
Council discussion? Council pleasure? Move that forward.
Okay.
All righty, next on our agenda, ordinance 2014-1874, transferring existing rates and charges for water service.
Hey, wait a minute, we're not cooperating.
Same thing for sewer, except this is for water service, water meter installation fees, water general facility charges, and surcharges for customers to city permanent source of Western water.
Same deal. This is to codify the resolution passed in February for rates that took effect in April. No changes, just making it an ordinance.
Any council discussion? Let's move this forward. Next item on the agenda, City Hall renovation.
That's you.
That's
you. That's you. You want it?
Okay.
Are we in the City Hall renovation?
Yeah. All right. I think we need to get some consensus from the council on where we're going with this renovation issue. There's a lot of work being done right now, and there's money being spent, and I hear a figure right now, like $500,000. By the time that everything's done, the modulars are rented, and the moving of the computer systems and everything else, is this council ready to spend $500,000 on renovating this city hall when our streets are falling apart? Our streets need striping. Winter's coming. We got no money to stripe our streets. We got no money to fix our streets, and we're going to spend $500,000 on this building? got anything to say about it, please. We need to put some kind of a cap on this renovation dollar that we're looking at. And if we don't want to do that, then I'd like to see how the rest of you council members are going to explain that to the citizens. Because believe me, they're going to be out after you. And you can't justify spending $500,000 when we got everything else in such a disarray.
It was brought up and discussed at finance committee last Tuesday, and Richard and Katie and Vic were there, and we brought up the issue and the dollar figure and options. I know that we had talked earlier on in the summer about variable options of renovation or upkeep related to this building. You know, when we talked, it was brought to the attention of the council that we had some possible mold issues and recirculating air during the wintertime being closed. And I know that I brought up the issue about we need to have some kind of recirculation issues in the building so that we can eliminate the potential of people being ill when we know that there's a potential problem. And I know that Richard at the time, last Tuesday's finance committee, had discussed that, yes, there is one figure approximating $400,000 or $500,000 for total restoration, but we communicated to him, and I did anyway, and we talked to the council before about when the city was ready to bring us variations of, here's the bare minimum ventilation system, here's cost with this, carpets or paint, or all the way up to a total restoration. And I know that you and I, Councilmember Steiger and I talked about this, and the concern he has is that, and why he's bringing it up tonight, in my opinion, is because we're spending, how much money is the city spending right now looking at these options without potential of getting council's input of where we feel comfortable with, you know, with doing anything to restore or repair or upkeep on the city building, you know, including moving out of the building. Because even if it is only a ventilation, heating ventilation system in here, is going to be a disruption. And that was one of the reasons why we were looking at the portables. Plus, if we're going to move the portables, they're looking at changing over an outdated phone system that we have, bringing it up to date. Plus, we're looking at a new microphone system, looking at a portable setup that we could utilize in the portables as well as being functionally bringing it back into the system. So that's what I know that we communicated in finance. I don't know if Richard wants to, you know, chime in, or any of the council members want to have a comment.
I know, I'm concerned about the asbestos, and that has to be cleared up. And last winter, there were 11 people sick.
Eight at one time.
And that cost us money because there was no productivity when people were out sick. And do we take sick leave when people are sick and not working
Correct.
and it's not just a beautification thing going on here, it's the health and welfare of the employees running the city.
Well, just an FYI, the asbestos is abated. There's no asbestos issues until you start tearing up right now. I mean, the carpet, there's no asbestos issues. The paint, the ceiling, I mean...
Even that split down with the duct tape on it, that, I get worried about that. It's like,
It's underneath the flooring, that's under the, isn't there tile flooring or something? It's
still scary.
It isn't carpet covering tile,
Yeah,
covering
we can get some
asbestos.
new duct tape.
Can we get some new see what color?
We can't sit here and justify spending $500,000 when we got other things that are top priority. I understand your concern about the illness. The illness is not $500,000. The illness are to correct the air quality in this room, that's what we need to do, that's what we want. We need to get a bid on air quality. Okay, let's do that. Our phone system, I don't understand how come our phone system is outdated, because it hasn't been 10 years ago since we bought this phone system, and it was supposed to be the miracle drug of everything coming down the pipe, and it never has worked right from the time we got it, because we weren't supposed to be having recorders, and that's all we got is recorders. It takes you sometimes a half an hour to keep punching in numbers so you get a human being.
I know.
I mean,
That is.
and that's supposed to have been corrected. When Heather was hired, it was supposed to have been corrected. And I talked to Leanne about it, and she said she's instructed Rich to fix that, and it has not been fixed. I mean, we're supposed to have, when you call City Hall, welcome to the city of Pacific, may I help you? I mean,
Is that fixable?
I mean, yeah, hire more staff. Here's the
hire
reality.
more staff. We got.
I don't want to
staff.
hire more staff, I'm saying
We
you're.
got staff.
You're, okay, but I hear what you're saying, and I've been addressing it, and I just told them when the phone rings, they answer. Sometimes there's a citizen at the window, that takes priority to the phone, and sometimes they'll go to voicemail. Most city halls that I know don't even have a human being who answers the phone, it goes straight to system. You call Auburn, straight to system. So, smaller cities do, and we're trying to do the best we can with that while we get the job done. So I hear what you both are saying, and believe me, I tell them, and that's why we have Heather there to back up the front window, and most of the time it does work. We have gotten very low complaints on that from most people, and so I know it's still going to be an issue, and we're going to do the best we can. I mean, Leanne says to me, why don't you answer the phone, because I'm, like today, I have 2 new guys coming to work here, I need to sit with them and get them, but I did have my cell phone on. So we really are doing our best to make sure that you are contacted, and that's why email works so well, because we're always going to get our email. But anyway, it's not to ignore that the phone calls need to be answered. Getting back to the City Hall renovation, we haven't even brought it to council, so right now it's not even an issue yet. We're spending some staff time on it to come up with numbers for you so you'll understand the plan. It's gotten slowed down because of Ken zones, which is sad. I mean, it's just true. And so now we're going to try and get it by October 6th if we can. It's a lot of work to get everything together so that it's a perfect picture for you, so you don't have to figure out what kinds of strategies we're looking at, where the money's coming from, how we come by at these things. And so if it wasn't for the health issue, we wouldn't even be pushing this. It would be like something we'd wait for. But someday you're going to have to address the City Hall anyway, or it's going to fall down. And so that's a reality of an old building. Yeah, go ahead.
What's our liability if we know that there's problems that cause sickness and somebody gets sick?
I don't want to find out, do you?
No, I don't.
So, yeah, I don't know. And, I mean, that's a litigious question for an attorney. So
You've had the testing done, the testing says it's not good for
It's
employees,
always
it
unhealthy
needs
level.
to be done,
Yeah.
so there's nothing we can do about it, it has to be
And if
done.
you're putting in an HVAC system, you have to abate. If you're putting in carpet, you have to abate. If you're painting, you pretty much have to abate. Anything you do to move anything around is going to be abatement. So that's $30,000 for abatement. And we've only paid to have the air quality tested and the asbestos check, that's it. Everything else has been staff time, which costs, I'll grant you that, but it hasn't been as much as you think. It's just a matter of calling and getting 3 quotes from each vendor, and then moving forward with that. And so we really wanted to come to you earlier than earlier than October 6th, but we haven't, and I apologize for that. And I know there's some rumors that have been gone out there, and the dollar number is not $500,000, we'll never even spend that much, but it's gotten higher because we have checked, to find out what the cost is. And we at first thought we'd stay in the building, but we can't do that because the price of the abating goes way up when you stay in the building. So I don't know how true that is, we're going to find out. We're going to bring in an expert or 2 to talk to you about that too.
I know when Roger Freeman came here and spoke one Saturday, we took him around for a tour to show him so we could try to get some help with, funding to repair and clean up and remodel some of this stuff.
That's,
The chances of getting some.
I was talking with the 2 new staff that started today, I've been in many cities as well as myself. We've never seen a city hall built by grant. So I think the one thing we could try for is maybe a CDBG grant for bathrooms. And perhaps if we start moving into this process, then we can show them pictures, and that's what we'll go for, a CDBG grant. That's what we're trying to get, we'll find out for the senior center and the youth center and the hall, and the way down the hall, the hallway outside. So there's some grant monies for that, but as far as the whole city hall, Leanne thinks she's going to be able to do that, and I hope so, but I haven't seen it. And so,
Well, we had to wait because they closed their session, so we have to wait for the next session.
yeah, next year for that. But we're not proposing bathrooms for this time. It's really I won't say it's bare bones, but it's
Yeah.
really, it's a remodel like phase one. And, you know, I mean, if Leanne were here, she would probably say that we're gonna bring it to you and, just trust that we're gonna have the best interest of the city in mind. We know the streets need to be worked on. That's gonna be a priority for this next budget. We're gonna talk about how you come up with funds for that. So we have all this as part of the process of going into what can we do to make sure we have a healthy environment. Because it's not just staff. This place has citizens all day in the building, whether it's courts, paying their bills, asking questions about permits. It's just the fact of life that this place is always gonna have people in it. So we need to, and, you know, the move also will help us clear out what's up in the attic, which is a lot of records that need to be stored off-site. It's gonna take a lot of time for staff to do that, but it's something well worth doing. It can't continue to go on as it is now. Believe me, I wouldn't like it not to be an issue. We have so much on our plate as it is, we'd like not to have to go through this.
If you could explain some of the options, the benefits of a new phone system, I mean, because of the cost and
I can speak to that.
interaction and stuff like that,
So I've talked to Auburn IT about the cost of moving everything over to portables and back. And they gave me their quote, and they also said, your phone system, because it's so heavy in copper, is cost prohibitive to move. So it'd be the same price, if not more, to move it than to buy a new system, and you showed me a couple systems. So I said, well, we'll talk about that, but it sounds like, because then you're just having it in the portable net here, so it's a lot easier to move. It's better technology. Our system is a little outdated, it can still be used, but you can also make money by selling the copper. You still would probably make a couple $1,000s off of the price, so that's something. I mean, it's not something I ever thought of in the first place until he brought it to my attention, and so I said, okay, well, you know, let me think about this, and we'll see what we do when we bring it to Leanne. We haven't even heard the final numbers. I just saw the numbers about a week and a half ago from Ken when he sent me an email saying this is what I have, but I have no backup for that. I can't tell you what it really is until we go through free quotes for each, vendor, as I was saying.
Are we looking at an internet-based phone system?
Yes.
And that way, cost is a lot less.
Yes.
Utilizing the internet services for phones, as well as being able to transfer your phone from in-house to your cell phone.
Right,
If you're not in the location.
Right.
So that way, if he's not at his desk, he can have that forwarded to his cell phone.
Yeah,
So
that's what we were talking about too, because I know I miss a lot of calls because I have to go see the things in the city, whether I'm meeting with John or I'm talking with, staff, and so it'd be great to have that go straight to my cell phone so we don't miss those. And it also comes with a headset for people who are answering the phone, like our staff, and they wouldn't have to miss calls if they were out down the hall helping somebody. So there's a lot that it does cover, but we first got to have the plan to bring to you before we even consider. And it's getting later in the year, so we're getting a little nervous about that because the windows will be closed up in October, and then we have no air circulation. And so, and I know this didn't seem like a reality a year and a half ago, but this is enough to test to show what it shows. So we just want to protect staff, and we want to make sure this place is a healthy environment for people to work in and come to. So we're really shooting for October 6th, and I hope it's not putting too much pressure on the new managers, because Lance Newkirk is going to be spearheading getting these quotes. Staff will be helping support him in that, but if we can do that in the next week, we can bring it to you guys, and then at least, I think the price will go down as we get more quotes. We just have one on some of this, so I'm hoping that's what happens. And we have some extra funds that are for the general fund now, that have expired at what they're used to, and it's a significant amount. So it's not like we're charging the citizens for this at all.
Further council discussion on this issue?
I just wanted to bring it to light and let this thing get away from us, and I think Josh is going to agree with me. I mean, there's no way in the world that we can justify spending $500,000.
I'll wait to see what the numbers are, but yeah, if it came out that high, we'd have to find something else.
No playing.
I'm
The
not
button on
playing
the
it.
top, the button on the top, closes everything down.
That Next item on our agenda,
Stewart Road groundbreaking.
It doesn't matter.
That's an old one.
Well,
next item on the agenda is police cars.
Okay, here's my question, and it's to you. We send our police cars home with our officers, and I understand why you want to do that. How many times have we had to have them all, jump out of bed, put on their pants, and run down here for an emergency?
So we figured you would have to get them gone.
Okay, well, another question I have
Rick
is,
got after those.
well, the question that Rich can answer, I looked, and State Patrol and King County both, their officers take home their cars.
They do take them?
State Patrol.
State Patrol,
Yes.
King County.
And King County does.
Okay.
They also charge they say, okay, John lives 10 miles from work, and so John has to drive 10 miles to and 10 miles from. They charge him a certain amount for gas.
Really?
Yes, so the city's not
Okay.
paying for their gas, it's the county and state.
Okay.
And then a very small percentage towards insurance for liability for when, John's driving home. And
Right.
we have had one incident, I believe it was in Tacoma, where a police officer got hit and the car was totaled.
I remember.
Yeah, I believe it was,
What, one of our cars?
yeah.
Oh, we've had.
Well, this was one big one where it totaled the car and the guy that hit him had no insurance. Poor guy, he had a police car to begin with, and the city's insurance ended up replacing the entire car. He had to go after and sue the guy. He can't get flat out of a turnip in his story.
Well, we had one on Cougar, a guy coming to work in Cougar Mountain, hit ice and rolled it and totaled it. I mean, there's been accidents.
Right.
Uh,
Okay, well, what I'm getting at is no other employee gets paid to come to work. There are deals to where once you get to work, if you're using your personal vehicle, once you get to your place of work, and you have to go out in your own, like, let's say Ken Barnett comes to work and he has to use his own personal car to go check on a permit or something down to the end of the road. He gets paid from work to that job, from that job to the next job.
Right.
Right. Well,
We do have a city car for the building. but-
right.
but I know-
Well, I'm just, this is just how I'm breaking it down, but as far as the police go, they're getting 61% of our budget, isn't that what you said?
It's about 50%.
Okay, 61% of our
correct.
budget.
That's not correct.
That's,
General fund.
total cost of all related to
Well,
city
that's
expenses.
court.
Not feet, no, it's not court, it's not feet on the street, it's,
Okay,
it's
they're
admin.
getting a big chunk of the budget.
Okay.
So,
They are the largest.
they're
expenses.
getting a very nice salary. I have nothing against police, I love the police, I've used them, they're great. But as far as the taking the car to and from home, if we want to continue this policy, I do believe that the city is paying for quite a bit of gas. We had Sergeant Pickett, who lived on the other side of Tacoma, not Sergeant, what's his name? Gaines?
Gail?
Gail lives far away. We also, he drives down 410 or whatnot. We're paying a lot in city funds to get these guys to and from work. And I'm not okay with it.
And this is an issue that should go to Public Safety Committee and discuss it. I mean, and John's got staff for it, they can get everything together before you
Okay, I'll
start
talk to
bringing
John.
it to council.
Well, one of the reasons is I wanted to ask, would this be part of police negotiations for the
No.
contract?
No, it's not on the contract.
It is
We,
not on the
and
contract.
Leanne
we
does
tried
not
to
want
do
us
it
to-
last time, and we shut them down.
They tried to put
They-
that in the contract?
They wanted it written in the contract,
Okay.
that they would have their car.
I guess it would have been easier if I would have just asked that question first,
Yeah,
sorry.
and the answer was no.
Then we didn't have to have this, okay, I will
But
talk to
the
John.
concern they have is that, if we want them to respond to an emergency situation, with them having their vehicle, they can,
Well-
let me finish, just so that they can, expedite their movement to the city, bounds, as well as once they're here, they're on active, they're in their car, they're ready to go, versus having to come in, check out a car or whatever. So I'm just saying that's
Right.
some of the argument for.
Well, it's my understanding that the two big incidents that happened in this town that I'm aware of was the shooting of the boy in the community center, and then the killing of the boy up in Cobble Court. And it's my understanding that once the police were called, the big guns came in and took over, and the Pacific police didn't have a whole lot to do with the investigation.
Whoa.
So anything big happens, you're gonna get everything this side of the Mississippi.
Well, the big guns, as you call them, don't come in until, they're part of the coalition. And they help and do the investigation as part of the coalition with
Right.
the city of Pacific, because we don't have the depth
Right.
to do some of that stuff. But that's not the initial call, you know, when there's a firing or shooting or incident, that brings in our officers as well as outgoing support and all.
Right, but if there is something big going down, I call 911 and I tell them, guys, Margaret's got, 12 cars in there and they're all shooting everybody. The 3 Pacific police officers are not the only ones showing up. They're gonna send everything.
Well, they will dispatch to Pacific, and Pacific will say this is out of our league and call in.
Exactly.
The
So I'm
coalition,
saying
but
that
not-
it's not like a citizen has to wait for Gail to come from Ording and somebody to come from Kent. They're going to get police from somewhere. So what I'm saying is, in my opinion, I don't think it's that critical that these guys can jump in their car and drive here, as opposed to, the town's what, 2.5, 4 miles? Go from home, go get their police car and go. It's maybe 5 more minutes, but you've also got the other guys on the way as well, because if something big's going down, dispatch is gonna call, and like you said, Pacific's gonna say, hey, we only got one guy on duty, can you get somebody to help me? And you're gonna have people come through. I'm just trying to think, this is an expense. I feel that the police budget is way over budgeted. They're getting way too much money. I mean, I understand we need a police department, but for how many officers?
We have 6 officers and a detective.
How many cars?
7, I'm pretty sure at least, and then we have the location director and...
Okay, so we've got
We probably
insurance.
have 9.
Okay, it's just,
When we had the incident where the guy was trying to take the police car and it ran into the
Right.
Humvee and it out, there was police from Auburn and Algona immediately.
When I first started, we had a bomb scare, I don't know if you remember that last
Mhm.
year in the summer. And I think Algona and Auburn were here faster than some of our guys. It just happened that way.
so that's what I'm saying, is we are
but,
covered.
Yeah.
So I will bring that up at public safety, and I'm sure I'll get you on that.
Are there things like, we always use Ording as a comparison
I'll ask them about that, look at how they handle that.
for Nation and people,
Yeah.
and those smaller towns just
Sure.
like that. What do the Algona officers do?
They can support from us as well as Auburn.
No, I mean,
No,
do
they
they
take
take
their
their
cars
cars
home.
home?
Oh, I don't think they do. I don't think
Yeah,
they do.
we'll check, this week and let you know next week, how that goes. But we have a bunch of, we're doing some, because of the union contract negotiations, we're doing a lot of checking, so I've gotten a lot of relationships started with,
I think my other question was, I can't remember if this has been asked before or not, if we're paying for their transportation to and from work, is that a gift of public funds?
no,
No.
Is it considered part of their pay?
no. It's just I think it's an expense overhead, it's really part of overhead, operations overhead is what we consider.
Am I within my realm to ask John where all of his people live? I mean, I don't want their exact address.
You can find out where they
Yeah,
live.
and there's,
And then that
and
way,
then there's a distance,
I can figure out the mileage, try to figure out the mileage
they
in
have
a
a max
roundabout way.
distance that they can use it from the.
Well, and it's not just the gas, it's the wear and tear on the vehicle, the potential for accidents.
You know, these vehicles aren't cheap. Okay, so I will send an email off to John and have him answer it hopefully soon.
Closing down on me.
And then I'll go ahead and I'll print out those specifics from King County and State Patrol who do send their cars home to their officers.
I'll let you know when they get to from other cities and I can take an email on that. So you can be prepared for your,
I think Tacoma takes their cars home.
No, Tacoma police don't. They do?
No one drives their car?
Was this thing off?
no, just went to sleep. Just a, side, I know you're saying,
Well,
Go back.
this needs to go to committee.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Does anybody else have any other concerns they want brought up at the public safety meeting? John?
No, sorry, no.
No?
No.
Stacy?
If I do, I think of something else, I want to
Send it to
have
Amy.
access to my email.
Send it to Amy.
this week.
Can you be my,
Yep.
my girl?
You know, that's kind of borderline,
Where do I set
You
it?
guys talk to the clerk about that?
Is there any place to put it?
I asked you to be my girlfriend.
No, there isn't,
You
so-
were my girlfriend.
How are they?
There is something you can sponsor, I'll do that for you. You want me to keep it for you?
I'm just gonna,
Leave it in your box, I'll do that.
yeah,
Leave it in your box.
yeah, I know.
And so it'll be here for you anytime. We'll work on it to make it simpler for you, so bigger. Oh, this is magnetic. Cool.
Any further discussion? There being no further business, we are adjourned.